Y'all go on upstairs here. I got it going. Y'all hear me? All right, we're good. We're good. All right. Well, the kids are going upstairs. My name is Robert Garza. I'm a lay pastor here. We're going to do a teach and preach today. I'm going to teach out a little bit and I'm going to preach a little bit. So we get the best of both worlds. But while the kiddos are going upstairs, before we get real serious, let me tell you a joke. And it's broken up, okay? So there's this man, he's driving down the road, and he comes up to this red light. Now he's been doing good. His doctor and his wife told him that he needed to lose a few pounds. So for the last I know. Not me, but this guy. Okay? But he needed to lose a few pounds. He'd been doing good, lost about 25, 30 pounds. And, you know, he's proud of himself. He'd been eating fish and chicken and broccoli and salad and stuff like that. Well, he pulls up to this red light, and there's his nemesis, Krispy Kreme. Right there on the corner is a big Krispy Kreme store. But he's been doing good. He's been faithful. He says, "No, I'm gonna drive ahead and pass it up." But then he had a spiritual thought. Y'all ever had a spiritual thought? Yeah. He had a spiritual thought. What? Because I've been doing so good, God wants to bless me. Right? I don't want to miss out on a blessing, right? So, in this spiritual thought, he thought, okay, if I drive by there and there's an open place in the front, if there's an open parking spot in the front, then it's meant to be, right? It's meant to be. So he sits there and waits, and light changes green. You're not going to believe this. The third time around the block, there was a parking place right there in front. All right, guys. Pastor, I did bring my glasses, okay? Let's start out with the Lord in prayer first of all. Lord, we thank you for this day you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to come into your house here, to share your word, to acknowledge not only your word, but what we are celebrating tomorrow and Memorial Day. We thank you that we have the opportunity for that as well, Lord. The soldiers that have given their lives so that we can have the freedom to come here, meet, gather, share your word without oppression, without being scrutinized, without being harassed, and be able to share your word. And thank you for that, Lord. I bless every person here. Let them go out of here and have a blessed day tomorrow and a blessed week as well. We ask this in your sweet name, Lord. Amen. Amen. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all would do me a favor, if you want, would y'all please stand, turn to the flag with me, and let's recite the Pledge of Allegiance. If you want. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right, guys. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Now, I didn't twist anybody's arm to do that, did I? No. But you had the right, if you wanted to not stand to do that. That's what our freedom is here. The right to do it or the right not to do it. And tomorrow is Memorial Day, and we're celebrating. We're not celebrating. It's not really a celebration. It's a remembrance of the men and women that have given their lives so that we have that freedom, so that we can choose. And we thank you for that. We thank you for that. So in moving forward, like I said, I'm going to teach and preach here. Teaching, I just want to give you some facts and some history on Memorial Day, and then we'll get into the preaching part of it. But when I talk from the pulpit up here, I also like to make it biblically relevant. Okay, so in starting out, some of the verses I'm going to reference here is Romans 13:7. Romans 13:7. Let me read it to you real quick. Give to everyone what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. That last part there. If honor, then honor. Give honor where honor is due. God is a God of order. He wants us to give honor. We're giving honor to those that deserve it. Okay? So that's why we have Memorial Day. We give honor where honor is due. Okay? And then the second one, I think Marty read it earlier, was John 15:13. Greater love hath no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. To lay down one's life for one's friends. Now, when Jesus said that, he was talking to his disciples, and he was talking about himself, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Okay? Well, when he says friends there, who's friends with Jesus? Everybody. Those that were with him, those who were against him, enemies, friends, family, everybody. When Jesus says friends, he means everybody. So he was talking about his enemies as well. Okay? Us, that are celebrating Memorial Day, we're talking about our friends, we're talking about our family, we're talking about our country. That's what we're talking about. Okay? So Jesus is talking about not only us, but those that were against him, that were his enemies. That's pretty powerful. Okay? But to lay down one's life for one's friends. Now, when I joined the service, I was in the Air Force a couple of years, 2 years. When I joined, I had no intention whatsoever of giving my life to my country. I'm not going to lie to you. But there were times when I thought, what the heck am I doing here? Because it was hitting the fan. And I'm sure if you were in the service, you may have a time or two like that as well. And I thought about that. If it came down to it today, would I be ready to lay down my life for my country? You know what? At that point, you have to come to a decision with yourself. Yeah, I was ready. I didn't have to, thank God. I've known one or two that have, and I'm going to honor them tomorrow in the memorial service. Okay? But that's what it's talking about here. So let's move forward. I'm going to give you some facts and just some history on Memorial Day, why we celebrate what we celebrate on Memorial Day. It started out with about a dozen cities. They all claim to have the first Memorial Day. And you can go from Waterloo, New York to North Carolina, South Carolina. They're all over the place, you know. But there's a couple of cool stories that I thought about where it originated in. Okay? One of the first that I read was right after the Civil War. The Civil War ended in 1865. Right after that, about a couple of months after that, or a couple of weeks after that, in Charleston, South Carolina, a group of freed slaves. These slaves had just been newly freed. They went, and the Union soldiers that had died there, they had been put in a mass grave, just real hastily thrown in there and buried. And these African-American slaves, they went, and they dug them up, and they gave them a proper burial. These are Union soldiers. They gave them a proper burial on Confederate ground. That's one idea of what the Memorial Day started out as. Another one was, there was a women's group, and there was, throughout the South, there were several grassroots movement, if you will, in the cities and little towns throughout that celebrated. Because you think about it, 620,000 men died in that war. Just about every town in the country was affected, had a grave somewhere of a Confederate Union soldier that passed away. So the women's groups in the southern cities began decorating the graves of those that were fallen. Okay? And one observer asked them, because they were decorating not only the Confederate graves, but also the Union graves. And this is in the Deep South. And he asked, why are you decorating, I understand when you're decorating the Confederate graves, why are you decorating the Union graves? And one of the mothers replied, in the North is a mother, a widow, or a daughter that's weeping for their fallen loved ones just as we weep for ours. It was a healing process for our country, because our country was hurt, it was divided. It was a healing process. So that's what started in that grassroots movement. And it was actually called Decorations Day back then. It wasn't even called Memorial Day. So finally, in May of 1868, General John Logan, he was the commander-in-chief of the Union Veterans Group known as the Grand Army of the Republic. He made a proclamation that May 30th, we would have a national holiday, or a national day of commemoration for the more than 620,000 soldiers that were killed, both Confederate and Union. Okay. So the first Decorations Day was held on May 30th, 1868 at Arlington National Cemetery. There's a crowd of about 5,000, and they came and decorated the graves of 20,000 Union soldiers and Confederate soldiers. What's cool about that is Arlington National Cemetery did not exist before that. But we had to make a cemetery because of all the loss that we had incurred during the Civil War. That was the beginning of our national cemeteries. And now across the country, there's about a little over 120 national cemeteries throughout the country. But the biggest and the best and the grandest is still Arlington National Cemetery there in Washington. But that's where it started at. And then several other states throughout the Confederates still celebrated their Confederate soldiers. Florida did, Georgia did, Alabama did, Texas did. And in Texas, on January 19th, we celebrate what we call Texas Confederate Heroes Days. We still have a separate celebration for Confederate heroes in the state of Texas. Now, because of all of our political correctness or the mood that we live in, the environment we live in now, a lot of people are trying to change that. But think about this. If we forget from where we came from, we're bound to repeat it often. We can get rid of those Confederate monuments. We can get rid of those Confederate holidays, but we tend to repeat it if we don't. We have to remember where we came from. Example of that, the Israelites. How many times did they forget where they came from, and how many times did they have to keep going through it and going through it and going through it because they forgot where they came from? Let us not forget. Let us not forget where we came from. Good, bad, it's still our history. We've got to embrace it. Okay? So, moving forward here, it became Decorations Day, and it wasn't until after World War I that they kind of changed it to include all the soldiers that had been killed in war. Okay? Because before that, it was just the Civil War remembrance, but they changed it to all the soldiers that had been killed in war after World War I. And then in 1967, they changed it again, naming it from Decorations Day to Memorial Day. Well, think about it. 1967, what was going on? We were in the middle of a war that we didn't want to be in. It was a very unpopular war. We had to do something to boost the remembrance of those soldiers coming back. Okay? So they changed it from Decorations Day to Memorial Day, and that's where the name came from, Memorial Day. Well, then in 1971, what happened? We were still in this war, and it was getting even uglier, wasn't it? Well, LBJ at that time, he came out and said, he signed into law that it was a national holiday and that it would fall on the last Monday in May so that all the families who lived far away from each other could gather and have time to get back and forth. That's why we have a 3-day weekend. It's not to have barbecue, it's not to have a sale, it's not to go out there, and then just, enjoy the day. It's because LBJ said that we were going to have it so that we could all come together as a family to remember those that had fallen. Okay. We kind of changed it up a little bit. You see TV or whatever in their sales pages on Memorial Day. Let's keep in remembrance what it really is. Remembrance of our fallen heroes. Okay, the blood that was shed. But that's the history on where it came from. And then a little bit more history in 2000, December of 2000, President Clinton, he signed into law the National Moment of Remembrance Act. The National Moment of Remembrance Act. Now, I bet not very many people in here know this, but the law states that all Americans would pause wherever they are at 3:00 p.m. local time on Memorial Day for a minute of silence to remember and honor those who have died in service of the nation. So tomorrow at 3:00 p.m., everybody in here is going to stop, have a quick moment of silence to yourself in remembrance of those that have fallen in remembrance of Memorial Day. It's a law. It's a law. And how many people do that? Wow. Yeah, it's a law, and not one person in here knew that. That's crazy. But yeah, it's written in the law right there. So y'all do that, okay? I don't want you breaking the law tomorrow. Okay? Now, if you do decide to fly your flag tomorrow as well, there's a way that we're supposed to do that as well on Memorial Day. Okay? The flag is to be flown on Memorial Day at half-staff until noon. And then at noon, you're supposed to raise it briskly to the top at full staff for the remainder of the day. That's to honor those for Memorial Day. The flag at half-staff until noon, and then at noon, if you fly your flag, take it out and raise it to the top. And that's how we honor those with our flag. Okay? And remember what the day is. It's not Veterans Day, even though veterans are part of it because we've lost brothers and sisters. but it's in remembrance of those that have actually died in war. Not those service members that have died, period, but those that have died sacrificially for the ultimate goal of our freedom. Remember what it's for. Those that died serving our country. Okay? That's what it is. That's what it's about. Once more, September 11, 2001, 9/11, it kind of changed Memorial Day a little bit more. We kind of went from celebrating our fallen soldiers to include and expand to include the first responders, the police officers, the firefighters, the medical personnel that are first responders. And I'm okay with that because you know what? They're out there on the front lines and they give their lives daily. It's a remembrance of those that have fallen as well. And I'm okay with that. Since 9/11, it's kind of changed our world, hasn't it? It really has. And I'm okay with that. Okay? But let me give you some numbers here. In the Civil War, over 620,000 men lost their lives. In World War I, there was 116,516. World War II, there was 405,399. In the Korean War, there was 33,686. In Vietnam, there was 58,209 that lost their lives. In Iraq, there was 4,404. And in Afghanistan, 1,086. You total that up, it's well over 1 million men and women that have died serving this country. So that we can sit here and enjoy church, so that we can give honor to the flag, or not, so that we can kneel at a football game or stand, so that we have that right. These men and women laid down their lives. Their blood was shed for that. Okay? Over 1 million men and women lost. That's mothers, brothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, cousins. How many families are affected by that? How many families are affected by that? Yeah, people raise their hands. Of course, it affects all of our communities. It affects all of our communities. We've all lost people. I want to read this poem. It kind of sums up Memorial Day for me. A friend of mine I was in service with sent this out a couple of years ago, and I've saved it. And it's just kind of sums up to me what Memorial Day is. It's a little bit lengthy, so please, just bear with me. But I'm going to read this. I am the fallen soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine. Remember me. I am the one that held line. Sometimes I volunteered. Sometimes I went because I was told to go. But when the nation called, I answered. In order to serve, I left behind the family, friends, and freedom that so many take for granted. Over time, I used different weapons. A sword, a musket, a bayonet, a rifle, a machine gun. Often I marched to the battle on foot, countless miles across whole continents. I had little water and even less food at times. But it didn't matter, we had a job to do. Other times I rode in the battle on horseback or in wagons, sometimes on trains, later in tanks or jeeps or even Humvees. In early wars, ships were made of wood and powered by the wind. Later they were made of steel and powered by the diesel fuel or the atom. I even took to the air and mastered the skies in planes, helicopters, and jets. The machines of war evolved and changed with time, but remember, it was always me, the warrior, that had to fight our nation's enemies. I fought at Lexington and Concord as our nation was born. I crossed the Delaware on Christmas Day in 1776. Freedom was on our side. I defended the Chattahoochee River in the War of 1812. I would stand again. In the Civil War, I fought with my brothers and against my brothers. At Gettysburg and Shiloh and Bull Run, I learned we must never divide again. In World War I, I marched to the Marne and held up the line at Belleau Wood. The war to end all wars, it was called. I just called it hell. In World War II, I fought everywhere, from the beaches of Normandy and the Battle of the Bulge, the sands of Iwo Jima, and the hell of Guadalcanal. I stood against tyranny and kept darkness from consuming the world. In Korea, I landed in Incheon and broke out of the Chosin Reservoir. They called it the Forgotten War, but I never forgot. In Vietnam, I went and I fought at the Mekong Delta and at the Ia Drang and the King Saw and Hamburger Hill. Some say my country wavered, but I did not waver, ever. In the recent past, I have fought in Grenada, Panama, Somalia, and other desperate places around the globe. And finally, I have fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, in Baghdad, Fallujah, and Ramadi, in Kunar, Helmand, and Kandahar. As technology advanced, I used night vision goggles and GPS systems, and drones and lasers and thermal optics, but it was still me, a human being, that did the work. It was me that patrolled up the mountains or across the desert or through the streets. It was me that suffered in the merciless heat and the bitter cold. It was me that went out night after night to confront our nation's enemies and confront evil face to face. It was me. Remember me. I was a warrior. But also remember that I was not only a warrior. I was not just a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. Remember also that I was a son, a brother, a father. I was a daughter, a sister, a mother. I was a person like you, a real person with hopes and dreams for the future. I wanted to have children. I wanted to watch my children grow up. I wanted to see my son score a touchdown or shoot the winning basket. I wanted to walk my daughter down the aisle. I wanted to kiss my wife again. I wanted to grow old with her and be there to hold her hand when life grew hard. When I told her I would be with her until the end, I meant it. When I told my children I would always be there for them, I meant it. But I gave it all away. All of it. On that distant battlefield, on some godforsaken patch of dirt, amongst the fear and the fire and the bullets. Or in the sky above enemy territory filled with flak. Or on the unforgiving sea where we fought against the enemy and against the depths of the abyss. There in those awful places I held the line. I did not waver and I did not hesitate. I, the soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. I stood my ground and sacrificed my life, my future, my hopes, my dreams. I sacrificed everything for you. This Memorial Day, remember me, the fallen warrior, and remember me not for my sake, but for yours. Remember what I sacrificed so that you can truly appreciate the incredible treasures you have, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have the joys of life, the joys that I gave up so that you can relish them. A cool wind in the air, a gentle spring grass on your bare feet, the warm summer sun on your face, family, friends, and freedom. Never forget where it all came from. It came from sacrifice, the supreme sacrifice. Don't waste it. Don't waste any of your time here on this earth. Live a life that honors the sacrifice of our fallen heroes. Remember them always, and make every day Memorial Day. Earn it. Earn that freedom, people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Thanks. That's pretty nice of me that, and I wanted to share it with y'all. Pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. So, I was getting this message together. I asked Pastor if I could preach on the on Memorial Day, and he told me I could. And I was going to talk about Memorial Day and everything. God kind of has other plans for us sometimes. He woke me up Wednesday morning about 1:30 in the morning, actually 1:32, I saw the clock. Thursday morning he woke me up, it was probably around 2:36, I think. And then Friday morning it was about 4:30, he woke me up. And he said to me, okay, big boy, you think you know what you're going to say? And that's what he calls me. I don't know what he calls you, but when he talks to me, he calls me big boy. Okay? Does he call y'all something else? But he said, okay, big boy, I want you to talk about this. And he woke me up 3 days in a row, so I figured if he woke me up 3 days in a row, I better wake up and tell y'all what he told me, okay? And it's kind of funny because it's what Pastor had been preaching for the last couple of weeks, and it goes along with the same general flavor of what we're looking at here, and that's servanthood. Well, I was like, how can I tie servanthood into Memorial Day? Well, it's very easy. It's very easy. He wanted me to talk about servanthood. So I wrote down this couple of verses. Everything I want to do, like I said, I want to be biblically based. So Mark 10, 43 through 45. Mark 10, 43 through 45. I'll read it for you here. It reads, Instead, whoever wants to become great amongst you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus Christ didn't come to be served, did he? He came to be the servant. He was the greatest servant, wasn't he? He was the greatest servant. He gave his life for what? For our souls, for our eternal souls, for our eternal life. Now, these men we're talking about on Memorial Day, they gave their lives as well. They gave it in a worldly sense. They gave it for our freedom. Nothing wrong with our freedom that we have here, but I'd rather live in a lifetime of hell here on earth and have eternal life in heaven. That's what Jesus gave us, was eternal life. He was the greatest servant of all. He was what we call a servant leader. A servant leader. You guys in the military, I know what I'm talking about, because you got those NCOs, those officers that are leaders, and then you got those officers that are servant leaders. A leader, he leads from the back, doesn't he? A servant leader, he's out front charging, saying, "Come on, guys." That's what a servant leader is. He says, I can't hear what you're saying because I see what you're doing. Your actions speak louder than your words, don't they? Your actions speak louder than your words. You know? You can go out there and tell your kiddos all day long, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And then you turn around and do exactly what you tell them not to. Well, what are they going to see? What are they going to remember? They're going to remember your actions louder than your words. Yeah. So we need to be servant leaders. Servant leaders. Okay? So Jesus Christ, of course, he's the greatest servant, he was the greatest leader. And our goal, once we become a Christian, is what? To win souls for the world, for Jesus Christ, right? That's what our goal is. Well, how do we do that? We do that by living a life modeled by Christ. We become Christ-like, right? Our greatest example was Jesus Christ. It wasn't, football players and basketball players are heroes there. It was Jesus Christ. That's our greatest example. So y'all remember that old saying, "Be like Mike"? Remember that commercial that came out several years? Maybe you young guys know it, the older guys do. Be like Mike. No, it's be like Jesus. It should be like Christ. Be like Christ. Be a servant. Be a leader. But be like Christ. We need to exemplify Christ because we're Christ-like. Because we're born in him, we need to exemplify Christ. Be a servant. Be a servant. And true leadership is servanthood. And the greatest leader, like I said, was Jesus Christ. In the military, I'm going to parallel it back here, we earn our rank. And with that rank comes more leadership. Now, I'm not going to use the officer side. I'm going to use the enlisted side because that's where the real work is done. Nothing against you officers. But in the enlisted side, just to use the term, you have private. You know what the private is? He is the slick sleeve, doesn't have anything on there. You know what he's in charge of? He's in charge of peeling potatoes. That's what he's in charge of. Okay, that's how much he has. That's how much responsibility he has. Well, next you have the corporal. And the corporal, he's probably in charge of 2 or 3 privates. Maybe another corporal, but he's a step up. He's got 2 or 3 people under him. He has that leadership a little bit more. And then you have your sergeant. He's probably in charge of a little squad or something, 4, 5, 6 men. Okay? And then you have your staff sergeant. He might be in charge of two squads, maybe 8 to 10 men, somewhere in there. Then you have your master sergeant, your senior master sergeant, and they're in charge of the whole flight. And then you have your chief master sergeant, and that's one that's got stripes from here to here. I mean, they're huge. And when he walks by, everybody's in awe because he's been here forever. He knows everything, and he's in charge of all of it. That's a chief master sergeant, or whatever it is in your service. Okay. But rank is given you to enable you to serve better those above you and below you. It's not given to practice your idiosyncrasies. It's given to serve. With leadership comes servanthood. Who taught us that? Jesus Christ. With leadership comes servanthood. So just because you're a leader, be the right kind of leader. Be that kind that serves. Be that kind that serves. Okay? Now, this word sergeant that I've been throwing out here, sergeant, staff sergeant, master sergeant, chief master sergeant, and everything, sergeant. You guys that are in the service, y'all appreciate this. I was doing research, okay? And in this research, I found out what the meaning and where the definition, what the real meaning of sergeant was. Y'all know what it is? Sergeant comes from the French word servant. Now you go and tell your drill instructor that he's your servant and see what he says. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's the man that sat there maybe do push-ups and sit-ups and jumping jacks and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and tore my bed up and made me eat chow in like a minute and a half. And he was my servant? What? What? I remember Sergeant Morales, drill instructor Sergeant Morales. He was not my servant. I was afraid of that man. He was not my servant. And I guarantee if you're in the service, y'all know what I'm talking about. He was not my servant. Or was he? Or was he? Think about that. Okay? That drill instructor, he chewed us out, he broke us down, and he built us right back up. And he built us back up stronger. He built us back up more physically enabled, stronger in mind. He built us with more pride, with more respect, with more honor. Why did he do that? Because he knew that there may be a time when we might have to go and live in hell. Those wars I talked about earlier, he was building us up for that. So was he serving me? He was serving me. He served me then, and he serves me now, because I guarantee if you're in the service and you went through that basic training, you are a better man because of it. He made you a better man today. He served you. Just don't go tell him that, okay? But that's funny that I saw that word sergeant. It comes from the French word servant. Okay? So we serve for the common good of our country when we serve in the service. To be a part of something greater than just yourself. Okay? Some gave the ultimate sacrifice in serving just as Jesus did. Jesus died for your soul. Those who remember on Memorial Day, they died for your freedom. They were all serving. They were all serving. Okay? Service is a gift we give to the world. It makes us human. It makes us separate from all other animals. It means that we are able to serve. Okay? It's also what gives our lives meaning. It gives you a purpose. Serving your country, serving your church, serving your family. It gives you a purpose. It really does. Okay? We serve our country, we serve our families, we serve our church. Like Pastor said last week, when he was talking about servanthood, it takes all parts of the body. Okay? If I cut off my little pinky right here, I can still use my hand, right? But I'm not going to be as good, am I? No. If I cut off a big toe, it's just nothing, right? I'm still not going to be whole. I can still walk, but it's not going to be like a normal walk, is it? We need every part of the body. If I cut off an ear, I can still hear, but not as well. We need the whole part of the body. Okay? So when you come to church, you guys, do you come to serve or do you come to be served? I hope you wore your boots today. Do you come to serve or do you come to be served? Are you a participator or are you a spectator? Uh-oh, can we get down? Are you a participator or are you a spectator? Well, I can't do much. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to go. I don't have the opportunity. We've got all kinds of excuses, don't we? All kinds of excuses. Okay? Let me put my glasses back on so I can see. A great man once said, and y'all probably know what I'm talking about once I say it. A great man once said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Okay. Well, I'm not a great man, but I'm going to say it differently. I'm going to say, ask not what your church can do for you, ask what you can do for your church. Yeah. What can I do? That's what you should be asking. That's what you should be asking. Not what can you give me? It should be, what can I do for you? Because who are we serving when we serve the church? We're serving Christ. We're serving our families. We're serving the community. We're serving each other. We got a lot of service going on here, don't we? We got a lot of service going on here. Okay? So I ask you, are you going to be the kind that's a participator, or are you going to be the kind that's a spectator? Okay? We need servants. You heard earlier my wife over here, that was my beautiful wife earlier, by the way, that spoke. You can tell we need some help. We need some servants. We need some servants. And that's been the theme for the last couple of weeks, really for about the last month, is servanthood. Y'all notice that? About servanthood? You know, we're giving you the opportunity. Well, I don't know what to do or how to do it. I don't know who to go to. I've never done anything like that before. We don't have the opportunities. Let me do this for you. Team leader, are you a team leader out here? Stand up if you're a team leader. Where are my team leaders? Got a couple of them here. Okay. TJ, Joe here. You can go to them and say, hey, what do I need to do? You know what? I bet you they'll put you to work. They'll put you to work. Lay pastors, where are my lay pastors at? Got a couple more here. You go to these guys. Say, what do you need me to do? What do you need help with? You guys find something to do? I bet y'all will. I bet y'all will. Where are my elders at? You can see them standing right here. Randy's back here in the back. You go to these guys, you say, what do you need help with? Are they going to turn you away? No. They'll find something for you to do. Okay? But the opportunity is there. You know who to go to now. Now you just need to plug yourself in. Well, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to cook. So, do you know how to wash dishes? You know? Like I told Joe, the arena team leader, he says he needs help with welding. Well, I don't know how to weld. Can you hold a pipe? Yeah, I can hold a pipe while you weld it. Okay, I can do that. I can get you a glass of water while you're out there, welding. I can do that. So it's not just a matter of going out there and having the skill to do what you need to do. It's just a matter of showing up. 90% of it is just showing up. They'll put you to work. They'll find something for you to do. Okay? Joe, do you need help? TJ, do you need help? Pastor, do we need help? Everybody. This is our church. We want it to grow. We want to go out into the community. We want to do different things. But we need servants. Now we're talking about Jesus Christ. We're talking about those that were in the service, served. And now we're talking about the church. Do you see that service? Where it all comes from? Ask yourself, where can I plug myself in? Where can I plug myself in? Now, if you don't like nothing about cooking, don't plug yourself into the kitchen. Okay? I'm serious. Don't plug yourself into the kitchen if you don't like nothing about cooking. If you like going out there and working with horses and doing things with your hands, get with the arena team. Okay? If you don't like nothing about the arena, about the horses and everything, we got people here that can come in here and set up chairs. Okay? If you like keeping house, hey, you know what? We got 2 bathrooms that need to be cleaned. Okay? You got the house, huh? See, it takes all of us. It takes all of us. And you know what? From cleaning the bathrooms to putting on a full-blown show out here in the arena, God doesn't care where you serve. Is he going to say, oh, this one's more important than that one? Heck no. You go out there and you reach your hand out to somebody when they walk in the door and say, hey, how you doing? That's serving, guys. You're welcoming somebody into your home. That's serving. When I walk through that door, if somebody new walks through that door and they sit down in this chair right here, they should be tired. They should be. Their hands should be tired. They should be tired of hugging. They're like, woo, I gotta go rest. Because everybody from there to there greeted me. That's the kind of church that I want to go into. That's the kind of church I want to be at. We've got the opportunity with a unique situation here in this church. We're Bosque County. We're not limited to just Meridian. We're not limited to just Clifton. We go to Iredale. We go to Valley Mills. We go to Morgan. I don't even know all the other communities around town. But we go to all of those places. We've got a unique opportunity to pull from all of those places. It's pretty cool. But in the meantime, we've got to serve all those places too. We've got to serve all those places. Who loves parades? I do. You know? And I love a parade. And I go down and I watch the floats coming down. And there's always that one float that's loud and obnoxious and just lights and music and noise and candy being thrown out of it and everything. And I say, wow, I want to go to that church. I want that to be our church. I want that to be our church. You set yourself on fire, people will come and watch you burn. I'm serious. I'm serious. How many of you like a big bonfire? Yeah, why? Because you want to watch it burn. You come out here and set yourself on fire for Christ, guess what? People are going to come watch you burn. They're going to see what's going on that hill over there in Bosque. They're going to come to see what's going on. And you know what? We're going to have a problem then. Because we ain't going to have enough chairs. But that's a good problem to have, right? But where does it start? Guys, it's our church. Ask not what you can do, your church can do for you. Ask what you can do for your church. We've given you the opportunity. We've got the places to put you. We've got the places to put you. You don't like what we've got? You know what? Go out and create your own ministry. I'm serious. Just as long as it falls into a biblical realm, you run it by the lay pastor, by the elders and the pastor, and if he's good with it, why not? Why not? You want to make a harmonic ministry? Make a harmonic ministry. I don't care. You know? Whatever you want to do, if it's your passion, run with it. I can't tell you what your passion is. You know what your passion is. Run with it. So we've got the opportunity. We know who to contact. Y'all see all of our staff here that we have here. Okay? Now the opportunities that we're going to have. We've got the Buckaroo Children's Ministry going on in June, don't we?
23rd.
When?
23rd.
23rd. We're going to be. We've got a calendar right here. If I come into your house, it better be on your front refrigerator. Okay? So if I come to your house, I'm going to check. We did this so that you would have an idea of what's going on. Put this on your calendar, put it on your refrigerator at home or somewhere where you know it's at. We've got the Buckaroo Bash. What's the most important part of our church? What was the most important part to Jesus? Of course, saving souls, but the children. Boy, those kids are so special up there because that's our future. Our Buckaroo Bash is going to grow that. We need your help with that. Like my wife said, if you can't sit here and come on that day, fine. Can you participate with monetary funds? Can you participate with just coming up here and building things so that we can have it for that day? Can you provide food? Whatever it is that they need, be there and be a servant. Okay? What else do we have going on here? The teen rally. Where's our teens at? We've got a couple of teens over here. We lost 2 of our teens. We're down to half of our teens now because of them graduating. We need more teenagers. We're going to have a teen youth rally coming up in July. Who wants to participate in that? We need help with that. We need help with it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We've got volunteers. Look at that. Right there. We've got volunteers already. They're serving. We need help with that. We're going to need help with that. We're giving you the opportunity to serve. If you like hanging out with teenagers, come on up here. I don't know why you would, but if you want to, come on. You know? No. We've got good kids. We've got good kids. And you know what? They need mentors. They need people that are here just to listen to them. Have you ever sat there and listened to a teenager talk? It'll scare you sometimes. It'll scare you sometimes. But you know what? They're real. They have hurts just like us adults do. They have to deal with adult problems. And they need adults that can listen to them. Just give them a pat on the back and say, it's going to be all right. Encourage them. You wouldn't believe how many kids out there that live on their own. Teenagers that know how to cook, that know how to take care of the house, that know how to take care of their little brothers and sisters. Why? We're the parents. They need help. So we're having these youth rallies so we can plug them into our church and we can support them, okay? So there's a youth rally coming up. What else we got going on? What we got going on August 4th? We have a 10-year, you know we're 10 years old? I don't look 10 years old, do I? The church is 10 years old. We're having a 10-year anniversary. And we have had the buy-in from all of the team leaders that every team is going to participate. Guess what? There's an opportunity for you to serve. If you want to serve with the men's ministry, you can. If you want to serve, doing ice cream, if you want to serve with whatever we do in the arena, we haven't decided whether we're going to do a goat rodeo or whatever, goat roping. A goat roping or a chuck wagon, whatever. We've got opportunities for you to serve. This is our 10-year anniversary. Do you realize how big that is? A lot of churches don't make it to 10 years. We're at 10 years. We need to celebrate that. We need to get the community involved in our celebration. We need to serve our community in that day. There's another opportunity for you to serve. Okay? So if I haven't given you enough opportunities to serve, come see me and I'll find a place for you to serve. Okay? Come see me, come see an elder, come see a lay pastor. We'll find a place for you. Okay? We'll make a ministry for you if we have to. Okay? But ultimately, let's get back to what we're focused on. Y'all understand what I'm saying about serving? Y'all get that, right? Okay. We don't have to give the ultimate sacrifice like Jesus did on the cross. We don't have to give that ultimate service of giving our lives. We don't have to give that ultimate service like our people did on Memorial Day that we're remembering. All we got to do is show up and just help a little bit. That's all I'm asking. That's all Jesus asks of us. Okay? He already paid the price for us. Okay? We enjoy the freedoms we have today. We're able to gather here today. Let's go ahead and give that service back to God. Let's do that, okay? We need to earn the sacrifice. We need to earn the sacrifice of the freedoms that we have. How are we going to do that? Y'all know. Serving good. Okay? Earn it with a passion. Don't just show up, but show up and be on fire. Show up and earn it with that passion. Okay? Earn it wholeheartedly. Earn it. So y'all go out and y'all enjoy yourselves this weekend. Remember, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, what y'all going to do? I didn't say pray. I said a moment of silence. You want to pray? It's up to you. A moment of silence tomorrow. It's the law. I'll turn you in. No, I won't. But it's the law, guys. It really is. Enjoy your freedom. Enjoy your day off. But remember that moment of silence. And remember ultimately who gave us that. Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior. Let's go to the Lord one more time and close. Lord, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to come here once again and be in your house and to share the word of servanthood, Lord. Ultimately, you were the example that you gave to us, and we should abide by that. We should try to be Christ-like like you, Lord, and help us to do that, Lord, that we can grow in you and be closer to you in serving ourselves, our communities, and each other. God, I pray everybody go out tomorrow and have a safe day. Come back next week and be highly blessed and favored and say, hey, you know what? I did a little service this week and it was awesome. I was blessed because I served others. Lord, I pray that if anybody here does not know you, that they first come to know you. If anybody here does not know you in their heart personally, that you come and have a relationship with them. That they seek out a pastor, they seek out an elder, they seek out a lay pastor, that they can lead them to you, Lord. And then they can begin their walk with service. And it will be righteous because of you, Lord. We thank you for that. Once again, Lord, I pray a blessing over every man, every woman, every child here. They go out this week and have a great week and a great day tomorrow. In your name we pray, Lord. Amen.